Now, from Fayetteville, high on the hill, this is your Pig Trail Nation Report, sponsored by Crane Automotive Team.
Welcome back to the Pig Trail Nation. I'm your host, Brandon Davis, and today we're talking Arkansas football. I'm joined today by Andrew Epperson, and we're 2 weeks away from Arkansas's home opener against Portland State on August 31st. We're actually right in the middle of the preseason scrimmage, and my first thing to you, Andrew, is what do you see being the biggest improvement for Arkansas if they want to improve significantly in Chad Morris's sophomore season?
Well, Arkansas has got about a ton of things that need to be fixed here. For me personally, I think the quarterback situation needs to be fixed. We can talk about some of those other positions, but quarterback, you're talking about the guy who's making the decisions, the guy in the huddle who has to command the respect of everybody else on the offense. And for Chad Morris's offense to work, you have to have somebody who can throw the football down the field. Arkansas didn't have that last year. Look for Starkel or Hicks, maybe a KJ Jefferson or somebody to go in there and be able to do that this year.
All right, well, I do respect that, but I would have to say for me, mine would probably have to be the offensive line. I mean, this offensive line, for Arkansas, I mean, there was a lot of things that was wrong with that team last season, but the offensive line was one of those things where I was like, what is going on? Like, you cannot protect the quarterbacks at all. You cannot open up blocking schemes for the running backs. I mean, like, they were 12th in the SEC. They were the only team they were above was Tennessee, and they were 117th in the FBS. I mean, talk about just awful.
Bad news bears.
I mean, they allowed a little less than 5 yards per down, and then listen to this: 32 sacks on Arkansas quarterbacks. 32.
Sounds about right.
That, like, if you want to be a competent football team, the offensive line, the guys in the trenches, they are the most important people, and they have to be able to protect that quarterback and block for those backs. Now, let's look forward to next season. Let's look forward to Arkansas's next season. Arkansas 2020, the schedule was released earlier by the SEC, and look at this. I mean, it all kicks off with Kent State coming to Razorback Stadium, the first time on the gridiron for both schools. And then there's a back-to-back road trips in South Bend with the Irish of Notre Dame, as well as the Bulldogs in Starkville. And then the month of September concludes with the Southwest Classic in Arlington with Texas A&M. Then the Hogs will spend the entire month of October home with Charleston Southern, followed by Alabama, and get this, LSU right after the next week after that. I mean, talk about a challenge for the Razorbacks. And then and then after a bye week, they will close out with the Volunteers on Halloween. Then after that, then going into November, a trip to Auburn, Alabama, and then after that, Arkansas will meet Ole Miss, and then close out with Louisiana Monroe, and then the season will close out entirely with Mizzou in the Battle Line rivalry in Columbia. So, Andrew, let's start with that September that we talked about. I mean, the Razorbacks, they have two huge contests, both with Notre Dame and Mississippi State, both of which are on the road for Arkansas. So how big is that going to be for Arkansas next season?
Well, every single one of those games is going to be important. Of course, we're going to have to see what happens this season before we see what happens next season. Who knows what the team's going to look like at that time. So it's just kind of one of those deals where it's hard to predict which games are going to be big, because we don't even know in this season which games are going to be big. But it'll be exciting to play in Notre Dame, that's for sure. That's one of college football's historic teams. And then, of course, it's those classic SEC rivals that Arkansas consistently plays every single year. So let's get through this year. Look forward to next year. Hopefully by that time, Arkansas is a lot better than they were last year. Let's put it that way. How about that?
Yeah, and then just going back to that, after that month, though, they get to spend the entire month of October in Fayetteville. They don't have to sniff the road at all, but they also have Alabama, who will probably be number one by the time they head to Fayetteville, and then LSU, the Golden Boot, literally the next week after that. For Arkansas fans, that's a double. That's just whatever. That's huge.
Huge, yeah, for sure. Anytime Arkansas plays LSU, I know LSU fans don't think of Arkansas the same way, but for Razorback fans, that LSU game, no matter what time of the year it is, what point in the season, that's a huge game for Razorback fans, for sure.
All right, and then we only have a little bit of time left, so let's just, I mean, it's so wonderful that college football is back, but you know, I'm just not gonna lie, like I just love not only this for football, but also just because we're back into like just college athletics in general. I mean, basketball, baseball. I mean, like if you're like sports fanatics like us, I mean, like we just love this time of the year. So besides football, what sport are you most looking forward to this year?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to sound like the stereotypical Arkansan on this answer here, buddy. Basketball for sure. You're bringing Musselman. This guy's got NBA head coaching experience. There are changes already being made to that roster that I certainly agree with that will make the Razorbacks better next year already. Addition by subtraction, as they would say. And so it'll be good to see how these guys work in a system that's predicated on numbers. It's predicated on film. You know, I can tell you right off the bat that last year and years past, they weren't looking at film. They weren't looking at analytics. And I'm not sure how you win any games doing that. So I'm excited to see how these guys can go about it this season. I'm thinking that they could make the NCAA tournament. And what if they messed around and made the Sweet 16 in year one under Musselman? Wow, that would just be something, wouldn't it?
That's a bold prediction. Yeah. I mean, especially for his first year at the helm of the Arkansas Hoops. But yeah, I mean, I like basketball too, and I like baseball. But for me personally, I would probably have to say college softball. I mean, I have like gotten to completely fall in love with the sport through going to plenty of games throughout my time, and I just gotta say, like, I just love. I mean, it mainly could go back to just like I love baseball and softball is often like it's a much shorter version because I mean that's one of the biggest things is you know, people complain is like baseball, oh, it takes forever.
Sure.
But that's like the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So. Well, anyway, thank you, Andrew. That's all the time we have for you on the Pig Trail Nation. More news and weather after the break.